Even though the market has cooled off a little bit, there are a lot of homes still being built, like this behind me. These are nationally, publicly traded builders many times, and so they need to keep selling houses any way they can. So I thought today's video, we would go around Orlando and figure out what are some of the massive incentives that we're seeing for you guys if you're thinking about buying a house here in Central Florida. Stay tuned. Hey.
Oh, hey.
What are you doing?
I'm looking at new construction. What are you doing?
I'm looking at new construction.
Well, then I should take you inside.
Let's do it. So Bree, you're the Mount Dora experts. So where are we today?
We are in Trailside, Ashton Woods' new community in Mount Dora.
So where is that, like specifically, if people wanted to find it?
Yeah, so if you were going towards Mount Dora and you were on the 429 and you came off of the connection, it is literally right there. So really easy access, but we're in this location still only 10 minutes to downtown Mount Dora.
That's kind of crazy, actually.
It is.
Do you feel like Mount Dora is starting to expand a bit as well?
All of the big name builders are finally in Mount Dora as of like a few months ago. And I think you and I always talk about, right, like follow the builders. They see the growth that's coming. So we have Ashton Woods and a few other big players. And I feel like we're right on the cusp of that bubble that's about to explode.
Awesome. So this is the Griffin model. I feel like one thing I love about Ashton Woods is that every neighborhood has similar models.
Yep.
They're all the same name, so you know different areas what you're dealing with. How many homes are in this neighborhood?
In this neighborhood, there's 257 home sites. 207 belong to Ashton Woods, and then there's 50 that belong to another builder called DRB.
Well, how many models are here in the neighborhood?
In the neighborhood, there are two models that you can see. One is the Plant 2 model, and the other is the Griffin 2.
Okay.
The Plant is the same model that you'll also see in Ashton Woods community down in Northlake.
Yeah. How many models are in the neighborhood total?
So there is 8 different floor plans to choose from here in Trailside.
Cool, and is Duval that biggest one?
Duval is the biggest plan.
I love that one. That's where we live, actually, isn't it, Duval? And so let's talk about pricing. So what's the difference between pricing here and maybe say some of their Horizon West products?
Yeah, so you're looking about an average of $200,000 difference just in base pricing between Trailside and Northlake at Ovation down in Horizon West.
Sure.
So there's obviously substantial opportunity to get in a brand new neighborhood like Trailside.
Yeah, for sure. I love the Griffin floor plan. It's got a ton of natural lights, the 2-story great room here. It's fantastic.
Well, and it's super flexible because if you do need more space, this could be your loft.
You easily could do that. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about incentives. This whole video is around incentives and what builders are offering in different areas. What are they offering here?
So for their quick move-in opportunities, closing by end of May, there's up to $100,000 in flex cash.
Wow.
That's been one of the largest incentives I've seen all across Central Florida.
So people that don't understand what flex cash is that just off the price, or is it off of closing costs, or what is it?
So most often you're going to see it towards closing costs and interest rate buy downs. Trailside is a little bit different because if you have money left over, you can apply it to the price.
Wow, that's huge.
Huge.
And I know they're doing some things with investor loans as well.
Yeah, so we have an investor that is buying a long-term investment property right here in Trailside, and they were able to get a 4.99% interest rate.
On an investment home?
On an investment home, not on a primary residence.
That's kind of crazy, actually.
It is.
Before we go to the next neighborhood, remind me, what's the HOA for this neighborhood?
Only $93 a month.
Oh, wow. What does that include?
You get the resort-style community pool. There's that little clubhouse area, and then walking paths throughout the neighborhood.
Nice, and it's actually finished, which is kind of wild.
I know. So typically you're waiting like 1 or 2 years by the time you move into a new build community to get the pool, but it's going to be open for the first resident when they move in.
What's like comparatively here before we leave Mount Dora? Like, what's a comparative neighborhood that you also think about that's offering good incentives?
Well, we did our last Lake County update video. What was it, like 6 months ago now? So if you saw that video, we covered Foothills Preserve. We've still been spending a ton of time there, and I would say I'd put them right next to Ashton Woods.
How many houses are there?
They're going to have about 200 homes in phase 1 and 2, and since we were last there, they're almost through phase 2. So you can really see like how the community's shaped up since then.
Any incentives?
They're doing $50,000 flex cash on to-be-built homes.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big deal, and like flex cash for those that don't know, you can still use that on design center, lot premium because you're early in this process, and then closing costs as well.
Amazing. Let's go check out maybe Trinity in Clermont.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're down in Clermont here. Where are we at?
We are in Ridgeview, right off of 27, and if you're familiar with the Olympus Project and Wellness Way, right on top of that.
Nice. We did a whole video about this last week and just like what's coming with the roads, but we didn't really get deep into the neighborhood. So tell us a little bit about Ridgeview.
Ridgeview is a super special place. It's been mixed between Pulte, Lansing, and Trinity Family Builders, which we will see today. There's about 400 to 500 homes in the neighborhood, and the amenities are awesome.
Yeah, and there's a low HOA, right?
Yeah, it's under $100 a month, either whether you have a 40-foot home site or a 50-foot home site, and there's no CDD.
That's huge. Like that'll save people hundreds of dollars. I know we went to some of the other builders that have not only a higher HOA, but a higher CDD, which would cost you more for potentially less of a home.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Here you're getting more square footage, and the CDD that we've seen locally is somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000 a year.
Wow.
So to your point, $200 to $300 a month makes a big difference.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the models.
All right. All right, now we're in Trinity Family Builders standing in their Wekiva model.
Nice, and how many floor plans do they have?
They have 8 here in Ridgeview.
Oh, that's pretty good, actually. How big are they?
They're 1,600 square feet up to over 3,200 square feet.
Like 3, 4 bedrooms?
3 to 6.
Oh wow, okay, that's really cool. And so I would say Lennar's probably entry-level builder.
Yeah.
Then there's like custom home builders. Where would you say that they fall?
Yeah, I think they're right in the middle there, right? Because you're gonna get a great price for the amount of value you're getting on square footage. You're gonna get a bit more options than someone that's just gonna spec out the home for you,
For sure.
but then still good quality.
Now let's take a look then.
All right.
So what's the price range of this neighborhood?
You're going to be looking at about $400,000 to $600,000 for those 8 floor plans that they have available.
And are they all quick move-in, or do they have the to-be built where you can pick all the stuff?
They have a good amount of quick move-ins, but you could also do to be built from the ground up.
But incentives are probably a little bit more on the quick
They're
move-ins.
definitely driving the most incentives on the quick move-ins. So if you're looking for things like closing costs and interest rates, I would focus there first.
Nice. And so to give us an example, what do they have right now?
They are doing one of the most insane interest rate incentives that I've seen. So conventional loan, they'll give you 4.5% for year 1. Years 2 through 30, you're looking at 5.5% fixed.
So that's not like a 2-1 buy down for
No.
those that don't know. Like basically some builders were putting money aside almost in like a savings account where it's like it felt like 4.25, but it wasn't actually. But you're
Right.
saying that this builder is actually locking that in for up to 30 years.
Right, yeah. So you're gonna get that lower rate for year 1, a little bit more savings, but then years 2 through 30, it'll be locked in. Some of the other builders I've seen is like you're saying they'll buy it down for 2 years, but then you're right back to market rate. So you just saved a little bit up front.
Yeah.
So I've been really impressed that they're offering that here.
One of the things that I hated agents were saying was like, marry the house, date the rate, because they're like, oh, in 2 years, the rates are gonna go down. And here we are 2 years later,
And
they're still high, right?
They went up.
Yeah, they went up, yeah. And so the fact that you can lock in something nice, have a great build and a
Yeah.
great location, it's hard to beat.
Well, and I think it's a great long-term investment, right? Think about all the growth that's in the Wellness Way corridor. So you buy now, it's gonna keep building. You're also gonna have that equity gain in the future if you have to sell.
Such a great opportunity. Okay, so let's talk about number 3 builder, or where do we want to go to see something else in terms of a good incentive?
I can't wait, because next we're gonna go down to Ovation and Horizon West.
Let's do it.
You know those aren't real.
I mean, I know.
I mean,
yeah.
I wish they were.
For sure. Okay, so let's talk about buyer's market versus seller's market. Is
Yeah.
now even a good time for people to consider buying a house?
I would say that you got to look at when it's the right time for you, right? But we're
Always.
talking about new construction today, and I haven't seen opportunities like this since back in 18, 19.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
Which it was a more normal kind of thing where
It
you had
was.
all of these different builders kind of going against each other, offering different incentives. And that just is a good thing for the buyers, which we didn't see for a long time.
Right, yeah, they took it away for a while, right? When we were going through the big heights of the market, 21, 22.
Yep.
You were bidding on lots, you were trying to get a lottery. You have a story about that.
Yes, I remember I was literally here in Winter Garden, like I had to get there at 5 in the morning to get in line to then put my buyer's name down and hopefully get a lottery for them to get a lot, which they did get. And they were super happy to only pay $20,000 more than the lot was being advertised for. Like we just don't see only, right? But you just don't see those anymore. And yet like the markets in this area anyways, it's not like it's crashing to the place where it has pulled back and you're getting more incentives, which creates opportunity.
And that's exactly it. And you said it great earlier too. They're not panic selling, but it's an opportunity for buyers. The market's going to shift again, and these incentives are going to go away because the builders are going to know that they don't have to offer them. So I think this is a great time to consider new construction.
Yeah, one day you're going to walk into a builder's model and they're going to be like, no, there are no incentives. We're done. All right, so closer to like the epicenter of where the majority of growth is seemingly going on, you get less incentives, but where are we right now?
We are in Harvest at Ovation by Taylor Morrison in Horizon West.
Nice, and so how many homes are in this neighborhood?
There's going to be about 400 to 500 total, but Taylor Morrison owns 241 lots.
Nice, and so what kind of product do they have in this neighborhood in terms of floor plans?
Yeah, so they have their rear loading bungalow product, but what we're most excited about is they have their 60-foot home sites with single family homes. Some of them are going to be pond view and conservation view, and that's going to be one of the largest home sites you can get in the Ovation area.
Oh wow, okay, cool. And so if they chose this neighborhood, what kind of amenities are there here?
There's going to be a community pool, cabana, and then a dog park.
Nice, okay. And then for that, there's obviously an HOA. What does that look like?
Yeah, so single family home, it's going to be about $100 a month, so super reasonable. Bungalows, $200 a month because that includes your lawn care, so maintenance free.
A little trade out there.
And no CDD. So
no CDD. Now that's a big one.
That's
so
a big
I know
one.
Lake County, Osceola County, it's 50-50 on if there's going to be a CDD or not. Orange County, apparently there's no CDDs really being allowed right now.
Yeah, so if you want to avoid the CDD, this could be another great option. Focus on Orange County, right? And then you could still keep that low HOA in a community like this one.
Yeah, a little bit more expensive here though. What are the price ranges?
Price ranges, you're going to be somewhere between $500,000 to $800,000, depending on if you're in that bungalow or one of those larger single-family homes.
Cool. A little bit of a trade-off with the lower CDD, but it is what, $100,000 or $200,000 more than where we started off today?
Yeah, it's definitely more than where we started today, right? When we were in Trailside, we were comparing to Ashton Woods' sister community, North Lake at Ovation, and they're going to have a similar product line as what you're going to see here.
So it looks like they're getting ready to finish up phase 2 before they head to phase 3.
Yeah, they still have a lot of houses to go and a lot of opportunity here in Harvest.
So what does incentives look like here?
So here it's a little bit different. We're going to talk about incentives on mostly their to be built. They don't have as much quick move-in inventory because there is a bit more demand, right, for Horizon West right now. You can do up to half off of your design center spend. So if you're going to spend $60,000, you could get it for just $30,000. So some savings there. $10,000 in closing costs, and then they're also doing some forward rate commitments. So even if the build is going to take 8 to 10 months, you could probably get like half a point off your interest rate.
Cool. So if for rates are at 6.5 now, when you close, it might be 6. It's kind of a little bit of a roll of the dice, but you know that whatever it is, you're going to get some kind of buy down.
You're going to get something better than whatever the market rate is.
That's awesome. So for the sake of time, I don't want to drive 45 minutes down to St. Cloud, but there's a lot of builders down there that are offering some pretty cool incentives too.
Yeah, we have Sunbridge there, and when you see a big development with multiple builders in there, oftentimes they want to compete against each other a little bit to drive better offerings. And in Sunbridge, you have Toll Brothers, you have Ashton Woods, you have Pulte, you have David Weekley, and one of our team members just got some great deals with David Weekley last week.
Yeah, it was like 2.9%, I think, is what they're buying the rate down to for quick move-ins. What are other areas, like maybe on east side, that we should consider thinking through that we've done deals recently?
Everby has been such a big one. We should talk about Everby.
Everby, I was actually just talking to Pulte maybe 2 days ago. They were talking about they have 4% interest rates for people on quick move-ins if you close by June. They're also doing, like, depending on the product, $20,000 to $25,000 on flex cash, which is less than it was not too long ago. So like that's the other thing is whenever demand picks up, these incentives start pulling back, and that's to me like an interesting sign. All right, so Bree, so much new construction and so many options, but do buyers even need to work with an agent right now?
I would say now more than ever with new construction, right?
Yeah. Even just going through one. If you went to one builder and you said, that's the one I'm going with, but then having so many options, and having so many different incentives and different things changing with a lot of different builders, I think now more than ever.
Yeah, and I think the biggest value that we bring is the area knowledge, right? Because you might see one community, but then you don't know the other ones to even compare it to. There's no real resource online to find them all. And then we also have the relationships with the builders to actually know what incentives are advertised to the public versus like how much more can we really get for our client.
Yeah, so many times they're coming to our office or they're reaching out and saying, hey, this buyer popped off this lot to move to another one. Now we have to sell this one. Who do you have? And we're able to go through our Rolodex and figure out what works best for the clients that we're working with. It's also interesting when you think about how builders actually, they don't pay us out of the deal. They pay us out of their marketing budget, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have the marketing budget compensating the agent, and then you still get the full deal for the buyers that are coming in to buy the house. I think that's a big misconception because some people think, oh, if I work with an agent, that's going to eliminate me getting the best deal possible. But I think actually blending the two is where you win the most.
I totally agree. And then the fact that we're there for them along every step of the process. I mean, sometimes it's quick move-in. They're closing in 30 days, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
Or it's 11, 12, 15 months.
Oh my gosh, for a while we were knocking on 2 years. But yeah, and the biggest thing too that some people don't know is not every builder would allow you to do a third-party home inspection, right? So we're negotiating that into the contract up front, suggesting vendors so that way you can choose and review a menu of services to pick your inspections.
And we are very different. I've heard horror stories lately with buyers where they sign on a contract and then their agent just shows up at closing.
Horrible.
Like, we literally train to not do that because we don't want to be one of those dozens of other realtors or hundreds of other realtors that are just like, they think that their value was getting to the contract, where we know that that's just where our value just started and we have to get all the way to closing.
Did you say Rolodex?
Well, like, you know, not physical,
but like you said,
like CRM. I'm almost 40, Bree.
Okay.
Give me a break.
Okay.
Bree, the whole new construction world is very dynamic. I feel like over the past 4 or 5 years, we've seen the 2-year builds all the way to now where you can actually get a quick move-in. Do you feel like buyers are kind of leaning towards resale or new construction in today's market?
I find them leaning more towards new construction because of the incentives, right? Even if you negotiate a great deal on resale, you can't control the interest rate as much.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to take advantage of the opportunity.
Do you feel like sellers are willing to buy down rates on the retail side though, or the resale side?
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's definitely an opportunity to negotiate on resale. You're going to get closing costs, but the builders have so much more flexibility with their marketing budgets and having their preferred lender, right? So that's where there's just some opportunity if it fits what you're looking
They're
for.
a little bit more aggressive.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, there's not new construction in every single area, but regardless of where you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in Central Florida, we want to be your real estate resource of choice. So make sure you reach out at theorlandoreal.com/YouTube to get started. We'll see you guys on the next video.